I've got some fierce nails for our fierce divine confidence training today. And I'm only kidding. I just couldn't decide which color I wanted. So I just made both of them. But this video is all going to be about how do you have fierce divine confidence that if you want to have two different nails and not give a shit about what anybody else says, you can totally do it and be totally gangster, just being you. So I am so excited to share with you this 5-minute tool that you can start using as of right now, once you finish this video, to feeling more confident and feeling more confident from within, right? From within ourselves rather than needing confidence from anything outside ourselves. And the reason I'm so excited to share this with you is because honestly, I have struggled with confidence my entire life, which seems ironic because I also, from a young child, was told I'm a very confident person, right? Like there was a label that was like kind of reflected back to me. And as far as I can remember my entire life, I have also always considered myself a confident person. It started with me, having boobs quite early in school and, getting a lot of male attention and a lot of guys liking me. So I was like, again, it helped my confidence. It helped me feeling like, oh, I'm liked. But it also destroyed me on the other sense because if I didn't get all the attention or somebody didn't like me, I'd lose my confidence completely. And this pattern, honestly, it repeated itself for like 30 years before I started realizing something needed to change, from like out the people I was hanging out with to, how smart am I being to when I first started my first business. At 26, I was running a 7-figure business that I built from scratch, from nothing. And, and I had this lifestyle that I built around it from, the fancy apartment and the car and, traveling 5-star hotels and a big team. And I built this identity about being a successful businesswoman. And again, that gave me confidence. The money I had in my bank account gave me confidence until it didn't, right? And I'm not going to give you the long story, right? You're going to have to hang out more with me to find the full, gory details of what happened. But my life basically kind of came crashing down. And I came to this very harsh realization at one point that my entire confidence wasn't real confidence because it was built on everything outside of myself. Because I asked myself, I was like, if I'm going to feel only confident if I have money or if my business is doing well, or if I can go to so-and-so hotel, or really my biggest addiction of all was validation from other people, right? If that's a guy that liked me or just people, again, I had this craving of like, I want other people to think I'm a good person, right? A good girl. I'm doing well. I'm beautiful. I'm powerful. I had that need of somehow other people validating me, right? My family validating my people. And again, it's not that these things are inherently bad. It's just, they can't be the source of our confidence, because if they are the source of our confidence, which I realized is we're never really powerful, right? Because we're dependent on something else, right? When those things don't match, suddenly we crumble. And what I wanted, I knew instinctively was something different. I was like, because I understood from a very young age that when we have confidence, we're unstoppable, right? Because think about it. If we have complete confidence in ourselves and who we are and what we want, we'll do anything, right? We'll go and speak to the hot guy or the hot girl that we like, that we fancy, right? We're going to build the businesses. We're going to travel across the world. We're going to do all the things that we want to do, even when we're scared, because we have confidence. It doesn't matter how many times we get rejected, how many times we fall flat on our face. We are going to get up again, and we're just going to keep going because there's a confidence. It's like this energy that's just inside of us, like moving us forward. And the truth is we all have this confidence, right? It's not that some are born with it, some are lucky, some aren't, right? There's a certain personality, introvert, extrovert, all that bullshit. We all have that confidence in our own unique way that's inside of us. I like to call it our unique beauty and power that's in us. The challenge is just that we often have disconnected from it, right? We've forgotten all about it. And there's all sorts of bullshit and everything, especially as women, right? Like we live in an interesting society, right? Where feminine energy, which is what is the most dominant energy for most women, right? Not all women, but for most women, it's the most dominant energy. And we live in a culture where for thousands of years, feminine energy has been suppressed. I mean, sexuality is one just huge example that most women have huge wounds about. Just to give you a quick taste of that, or our bodies, or how beautiful we are, right? Like there's so many different angles that this comes from, why we don't have this inner confidence and the stories that we've built around it. And the truth is, like I said, when my kind of crumbling, it was also the greatest blessing of my life, because it made me kind of commit and dedicate myself to really learning what it took for myself. Quite honestly, I never thought I would be sitting here teaching you this. Honestly, that's been a wild ride. but I just wanted it for myself. I just wanted that. I wanted that power within myself, that no matter what, I was going to have that confidence. I was going to have that power to create the life I wanted. And it led me to finding out the secret magic formula to developing inner confidence. And I'm going to share it with you. And it's probably going to sound overly simplistic to you. And you're probably not going to think, oh, no, that sounds that secret. But don't dismiss the power of what I'm about to share with you. The secret to unstoppable confidence within yourself really is quite simply knowing, loving, and trusting yourself, right? Going within, taking away all these programs, all these stories that our parents, our culture, our society, right? Often well-meaningly. It's not about like, shaming or bullying anyone in it. It's just the way the life is, right? We all have these stories that we have bought into, right? And that we need to dismantle, and that we need to resolve, and that we need to look at and just be like, do I like this story? Do I want this construct? Do I want to keep this fear? Do I want to keep this insecurity? And as we kind of dismantle them and resolve them, we start to kind of go back to who we truly are. And that's where we also refind our confidence within ourselves. So I'm, like I said, I could talk about this forever, but I want to just give you a really simple tool that, like I said, in 5 minutes a day, you can start using, and you're going to feel like you're going to start training this muscle, because that's what it really is. Like I said, there's a phase of unconditioning that we need to do, and that's what we're going to do with this 5-minute tool. But before I dive into it, I want to answer the question, because I'm sure some of you are going to be like, 5 minutes, I'm really going to be, unstoppable confident and just doing it 5 minutes, something for 5 minutes a day. And the honest answer to that is, it's no and it's yes. Okay. So the no is because, yes, for most of us as women, like I said, we live in a society where feminine energy has been suppressed. We don't even really understand all these different parts of ourselves, right? This is what I teach. I teach it through the feminine archetypes, but there's many different ways. It's just so much about feminine. Like I said, sexuality is just one huge topic that by itself, I think everybody understands. It's a huge issue, right? Where we just really don't know ourselves that well. We don't really know what we want. We don't really know who we are, what needs we have. And so many of these different parts, like, are conflicting, right? We've all heard these conflicting stories. So yes, for most of us, 5 minutes a day is not going to be enough, because there's some unconditioning, some unresolving to do. But at the same time, 5 minutes is enough, because if you will just do this, right? If you just are open and willing enough to try this is what's going to happen. I know 100%, which is if you start doing this, you're going to start feeling a shift, right? Because as soon as we say yes and we start like being open and being willing, and we only need a tiny little bit, that's it. You're going to start going on your own unique path. So let me give you the 5-minute routine, and go and try it out for yourself. And you can, like I said, test it out for yourself directly. So what is the 5-minute routine? I like to call it the queen routine. That's how I like to call it. And I'll explain to you a little bit later why. But what it entails is quite simply using that formula about knowing, loving, and trusting ourselves in a very, very simple, practical way. And that is, by really knowing ourselves is like knowing yourself on what already makes you feel confident, what already makes you feel good. And by just finding something simple, right? And it could be wearing your favorite outfit. It could be taking the time in the morning to put on your clothes together and do your makeup, or, working out in the morning. Again, these are all part of my queen routine. So there can be all these little things. It might be reading for 5 minutes in the morning. It might be doing a meditation. Like, we all have these little things that you can just do that already make you feel good, and they already make you feel confident. If we will simply, love ourselves enough to do that one little thing, to give ourselves up 5 minutes, especially if we can do it straight first thing in the morning, we're going to build trust. Right? Because the reason most of us don't feel confident, honestly, is just because we don't trust ourselves. And the reason we don't trust ourselves is because we're not doing the things that really would be loving to ourselves, right? That's how simple it is to resolve this kind of stuff. Because trust happens over time. And if you show up for yourself every single day, you're going to feel more and more trusting in yourself, which is going to give you more and more confidence. This is why this kind of stuff works, even though it sounds so simplistic and almost too easy and too good to be true, right? But it's really about doing something. And ideally, if you can do something that really engages your whole nervous system, because when you engage your whole nervous system, and I'll give you an example of mine, right? One of my favorite ways to do this is part of my queen routine is when I'm in the shower in the morning. I love, I'm like rubbing my body and really being conscious in that moment, like, enjoying that moment of like, bathing in my body and like smelling the shampoo and the body wash and listening to my favorite songs, right? So I'll have the Queen Beyonce or, Jada or somebody on my stereo, and I'll be singing along to it. So I'm using my voice and I'm using my body, and I'm consciously really just giving so much love to myself. And sometimes I even will give myself some affirmations like, you're so beautiful, I love you, you're powerful, you're amazing, right? And the reason this works so well is because I'm using all these different parts of myself, and I'm getting it into my nervous system. I'm not just doing it here in my mind where I'm like, I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, like blah blah blah. And because if you just do it in your mind, you'll get like, oh no you're not, right? Like fat and ugly, like you're like whatever, right? Like that's what will happen if you just do it from your mind. But if you can start engaging your body and using your voice, that's why I love singing along, right? Because it's such a fun, simple way that we can get started, right? You're actually engaging your entire body, and you're creating a feeling of feeling good, connecting to something that already makes you feel confident. And if you will just consciously do this every single day, you're going to start noticing a shift. One, I'll share with you a bit of an embarrassing routine that I do, part of my queen routine, but just to give you another example, like this is what I like to think of my queen ring, right? I love this ring, but it's pretty big, so I can't sleep with that, right? I'll probably scratch my face. So it sits in my jewelry box, like that's behind me. So in the morning, one of the things, once I've put on my, I've put my clothes on and I've done everything to get ready, I have my hand cream, and I take some 2 minutes to just like put hand cream on my hands, because I just love the feeling and the sensation of it. And I say an affirmation while I'm putting on that ring, and I'm like, I am open, I am free, I am abundant, I am divine, I am a queen. And I put it on, and I'm feeling it, right? Like it makes me feel amazing. And I'm really get into it, and I really feel confident. And again, it's not about doing this exact routine. That's why I'm giving you so many different options and variations. And like I said, the most important part is knowing yourself and knowing what's going to feel good to you and what's going to make you feel confident. Because completely honest, I'm sure some of you be like, that's like so cheesy, that sounds so silly, I'm not going to feel confident if I do that. And I get it, because honestly, even if I had done that a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that either. I would have thought that was stupid. It wouldn't have made me feel confident. So it's about honoring where we're at, and just giving ourselves the gift, loving ourselves enough to just do something for ourselves that's going to make us feel good. And like I said, and really activating that part of us, which is the queen within us, right? So I teach on the 7 feminine archetypes, right? And the queen is within every single one of us. It's that part of us that's royal, that's majestic, that's divine, that represents the energy of leadership, of leading and serving ourselves, but also leading and serving other people. And this is why I call it the queen routine, because especially if, like me, you're a leader, right? And we're all leaders, right? If you're leading your business, if you're leading your community, if you're leading your relationships, like your marriage or your family and your friends, right? We all have leadership roles, and we have a responsibility with that, right? There's a lot of abundance, and there's a lot of beauty and joy that comes with having that kind of power, but there's also responsibility. There's a responsibility that we have. And this is why, for me to show up in my business and to show with clean energy, right? That it's really, truly, honestly, loving and open and beautiful and joyful, I need to do these little things for myself, because that's what's going to center me in. That's what's going to make me feel really confident within myself. And people can feel that. People can feel it when I go on a camera. People can feel it when I write a post. People can feel it when I write them an email, right? And I'm sure you can feel that right now from me. So this is why, how powerful this simple little routine is. And I would actually love you to try it. So try it and make it your own, right? This is not about doing it one way. Have a play with it. Like you can try some of the different things I said, experiment with it. And then once you find something, just start doing it for 10 days, 20 days, and just do it as an own experiment. See how you start shifting. And, I would absolutely love if you join our, Facebook community, the Fierce Divine Females. I'd love to have you, because I'd love to hear about your routine. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear how you suddenly feel. If you've got any questions, I'd love to hear from you as well, because this is my life's work. I love doing this. This is, again, I do this for myself, and it's now been a pleasure for me to like share this with other women as well. So I'd love you to join in the community. But even if I never see you ever again, I know the beauty of doing this kind of work is if you would just do it for 5 minutes a day, something is going to shift, something is going to open. And I might not be the person that continues to you on this journey, right? But it might be another book. It might be a conversation that you suddenly have. It might be a shifting circumstances. I have, done this kind of work for long enough that I know all we need to change, all we need to do to tap into this power, this incredible beauty that's inside every single one of us, is to just have this tiny little bit of openness, this tiny little bit of willingness. We do not have to figure it all out. That's the beauty of it. You just need to take that first little step. And that 5-minute little routine is going to change your life. And I know sounds over promising, but it really will if you come from it from an open place and you kind of continue to lean into it. Because like I said, the biggest thing that why it takes longer for most of us to get back to really that power, that beauty, that unstoppable confidence, because we need to start resolving all these issues, right? All these fearful stories, all the insecurities, all the, do you mean I ams, right? That people tell me all the time that they are. It's learning to resolve all of that and to get, I always think of it like, we have this beautiful light. If you think of that as our unstoppable confidence, our, beauty in our side of us. As we have all this mess on top of it, which is all this just these bullshit beliefs, these stories, this programming, honestly, that's just kind of running us. And it seems like we're self-sabotaging ourselves, or we're playing small, or we're doubting ourselves all the time. But it really is it's just conflict. It's just the different parts of ourselves, not, do you mean like pulling together, but kind of pulling against each other. And once we can go in there and like we start resolving it, and we can then also add that up to like knowing ourselves well enough to constantly know what kind of routines and habits do we need to create in our lives that we're stepping more into that beauty and power, you truly become unstoppable. And if you're somebody that really, you're starting to realize, oh, wait, this is really the key that I need to take myself to the next level, be it in my business, showing up more, like being authentic in the way I communicate, or, in your life in general, right? You just want that more like just being yourself and expressing yourself from that place, I would absolutely love to chat to you, directly. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I have a complimentary unstoppable confidence strategy session that you can take me up on, where I'll dive into it with you, where, where you're at, where you really want to go, and have that clarity of really what is stopping you. Because the truth is, we sometimes feel so stuck and like we're spinning our wheels, but it's always amazing to me for myself, and when I do it for others, like how quickly we can resolve the craziness in our head if we just kind of make it very clear on paper where we're at, where we want to go, and what's kind of getting in the way. So if you want to take me up on that, I'll put a link in the post. Join the Fierce Divine female community. I'd love to have you. You can also sign up for my weekly blog, so you'll get more of these kind of tools and teachings when they as they come along. And if I, like I said, if you join, if you talk, become one of my clients one-on-one, or if I never ever see you again, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to, showing up for this video, taking the precious time, and even being just interested in this kind of work. Because I honestly believe there's nothing more important than knowing, loving, and trusting ourselves. Because if we want to have a world that's going to be better, right? I'm still in lockdown at the moment, and as I'm recording this, and the craziness that's going on in the world. If we want a better world, if we want the one that's more open, that's more loving, that's not as ego driven as it is right now, it's going to come down to every single one of us to find that more beautiful, more powerful, more open, loving part of ourselves. And we all have to go first. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being interested. Thank you for being on this journey of discovering yourself and wanting to tap into those parts of yourself. And, thank you for stopping by, and just enjoy the rest of your day and have a beautiful time.